Matt, let's make us some pasta.
It's time to make it a pasta, huh?
I'm in the West Village at Pig Bleecker, a restaurant that is really known for its barbecue and its smoked meats and its fried chicken and its steak. But I'm here to eat lasagna, the one thing on this menu that I crave above all others. So I've known Matt since he was a chef at the 4 New York Times starred Del Posto, which also has Michelin stars. I mean,
It does indeed.
this is an epic lasagna, not just because it tastes great, but because there's so many cultural and, you know, just real New York City influences imbounded and a lot of your history. So this lasagna tells your story in many layers.
It does, in many layers. That was very clever. So in order to make our duck lasagna, we first have to have, obviously, duck. The ducks that I like to use here are Long Island crescent ducks. We're just gonna start taking our legs and thighs off. We're gonna make 2 little cuts. What I like to do is I take the legs and I sort of pop the joints out on both sides, which makes it easier for me to find where that oyster meat is gonna be. And I run my knife right to where that joint is. In doing so, I get to get all that good oyster meat. So we're gonna trim these over here. And what we're left with is our duck leg and thigh, just like that.
So a classic...
Classic duck leg, thigh, confit. This is used in countless preparations in French cooking, Italian cooking. Duck, any sort of meat, any sort of protein, any sort of fruit, vegetable, fish, all needs to be...
Hold on a second, hold
I said the wrong words. I said vegetables.
What, fruit and vegetables?
What are those? We have to season these duck breasts before we put them in the oil. And we're gonna season both the skin and the meat itself. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little bit of our all-purpose barbecue seasoning.
And this is what you would rub your award-winning whole hogs with?
We use this on pretty much a large majority of our barbecue. We use this for the whole hog, we use this for our baby back ribs. I have some of our pre-rendered smoked duck fat that we're just gonna pour over all these duck thighs. And you wanna make sure that they're completely covered, because if there's any parts that are exposed like that, that's gonna dry out. So now we have our fat rendered, it's poured over our duck thighs. We're gonna now put our duck thighs into the smoker, and at about 3 to 3.5 hours later, it's gonna be at that texture where the meat is falling off the bone, and that's where we wanna be. So we have our duck smoked, confit, falling off the bone, ready to go. So the next thing to do is to take that duck meat and put it into a ragu that's going to be one of the layers of our lasagna. So to start this lasagna, we're gonna take a little zigzag of bechamel, a little dollop of Grandma's Sunday gravy, and really all we're doing is laying the platform for the first sheet of pasta. You can see there's nice big chunks of duck meat in there. It hasn't been overworked, they're not falling apart or being shredded, so we get that nice bite of duck. You can tell there's duck in this ragu.
It's meat. You can taste it. You want that mouthfeel.
And it's
right?
more meat to sauce. With so many layers here, less is more. So we don't want to go too heavy on the fillings.
So you're doing kind of a Jackson Pollock kind of...
Exactly,
right?
yeah. Putting our artisanal on right here, making it all...
Well, we're in the West Village. I mean, how appropriate.
Why not, right? Ready to go sear some off and make a finished dish?
I'm ready to go eat it.
My
If we need to
man.
do that first, let's do it.
Let's go. Make it happen.
Okay, well, here we are, the moment I've been waiting for. It's such a long, arduous, convoluted process, but as you're about to find out through my sage words, it's worth it. This dish is complex and at the same time, like, incredibly humble and familiar and warming and rewarding and all of those things. But at its heart, it really is all of these great culinary influences coming together in one incredible dish. The challenge I always find is, like, where do I actually approach this from? Like, you have to have the right entry point because you don't want the whole thing to like fall apart like a stack of dominoes. I'm gonna go for a nice diagonal cut here. Look at that. Oh, the aroma coming off that, it's like every Italian grandmother's kitchen. You can smell the char. It's interesting. Like, it definitely adds a component to it. The complexity of the process is so apparent on the flavoring. There's so many layers of texture, first of all, because you get that crunch from the exterior, and then the pasta has kind of a gentle chew to it, but then the bechamel itself, it just sort of coats your mouth in this sort of viscosity, and then you get the tang from the cheese, and the breadcrumbs has a nice little bite to it. Then the flavor of the duck comes on, and it's like the perfect rendition of duck. It's got some smokiness, but it's not over smoked. But most of all, it's got like a real bite to it. It really does feel like meat. That isn't lost in this. You know, a lot of lasagnas, when they sort of render down the beef or whatever down to like mere pebbles, that is not this. This has recognizable chunks of duck. The thing about this dish is that it's so evocative of so many Italian dishes that I've had before, whether it's lasagna or these baked pastas. Like, at the same time, it's very new because the element of smokiness in it and the duck sort of satisfies both my yearning for nostalgia and also my longing for something new. This is the dish that I crave above all others on this menu, and I think it's something to do with the fact that it really does have a familiarity because it's a lasagna, and who doesn't love lasagna? At the same time, it's really bringing in this great smoked duck element. And I love duck, it's my favorite poultry. And I love food that tells stories, and I think this story, especially when you hear from Matt, like all of the disparate elements in his really sort of diverse and interesting culinary life, you know, it really, you can taste that range of experience on the plate. I recommend that you get down here, try all of the great meats on this menu, but do not skip the duck lasagna, because I think you can get as addicted as I am to it. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you on the next episode of The Meat Show.